podcast. Today we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the APN's The Pulse podcast talks about, then please share The Pulse with others. During this episode of The Pulse, the host looks forward to your comments. Tonight's APN's The Pulse podcast starts now.
And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Pulse podcast, brought to you by the Great America's Pulse Network. And your moderators tonight, Damon, Galdo, host of the Jersey Shore. We're going to bring on our guests shortly. And see the moderator, Damon Galdo, Hammer. Again, I'm going to explain that to everyone that's on, that's listening. Hammer comes from my buddy Seth, who's going to come on soon. He calls me the Hammer for some reason, so I had to make this hammer here, golden hammer. I had to spray paint it gold just for him, just to satisfy Seth. So there you go, Seth. I did it for you, buddy. So anyway, we're going to get into the breaking news. The breaking news. Everyone knows what's going on in Iran. We know that we're at a 2-week ceasefire right now, and things have started to go good. As far as like I just saw that the barrel of oil, dropped below $100 per barrel. And the stock market rose a little bit. So hopefully we get to the end of this soon. We end this, it's over, it's done, and we accomplish what we were there to accomplish. But I will say again, like I said on the podcast on Monday on my podcast, that the American might and the military force is amazing. Now, not just for what they're doing, dropping bombs and Iran, but the rescue of the airmen was something that I guarantee you they're going to make a movie out of it. Everything I read and I saw about it, I was like, wow, that was actually really astonishing how they could do that. And then we also have the first time in human history that we had people over 250,000 miles away from Earth in space, the furthest they've ever been. So that's a great thing. So, and you know what I should have, now that I think about it, I should have had that clip when Trump made the call. But if you guys didn't hear it already, I will go back and look it up when he made the call to the astronauts. It was pretty cool. It was pretty funny. It was for me, it was a neat thing. Just to talk to somebody in space that's been further than any human being ever. So, but all right. So I'm just going to go into a quick monologue and I'm going to introduce the guest. So tonight I want to speak to you. Again, not as a politician, but as a working man, as someone who spent my life building, not talking, and creating, not promising, living in the same world that you do, not observing from behind the desk in Washington, but because something is happening in this country right now that everyone can feel. Everyone, even if everyone can yet explain it. They can't explain it yet, but there's something happening in this country, and everyone can feel it because there's a shift and that's going on. The system is no longer working the way it was intended to. I mean, you see when you turn on your television and find yourself questioning whether what you're being told is the full story or just the version of what they want you to hear. I mean, you see it in numbers. Trust in media has fallen to historic lows. Viewership across major networks has steadily declined over the past decade, not because people stopped caring, but because they stopped believing. And when people stop believing, then something bigger begins to change. And you see it in the lives of working men and women across the country, families working harder than ever, yet somehow falling further behind. People doing everything right and still struggling just to keep up. That's not the failure of the people. That's the failure of a system that has lost sight of who it's supposed to serve. For too long, decisions have been made by those who do not live with the consequences. For too long, the voices of everyday Americans have been filtered, reshaped, and in many cases ignored. But here's the truth they cannot ignore. The American people are not disengaging. They're not giving up. They're paying attention more than ever before. And they are simply choosing to listen somewhere else. they're tuning into independent voices, to like platforms where conversations aren't scripted, like the show you're about to see right now, where questions are not avoided and where the truth is not something that needs to be approved before it's spoken. And that's why this moment matters, because this is not just a shift in media, it's a shift in power, away from institutions that have grown distant and back toward the people who have always been the foundation of this country. That is what this show represents. That is what my campaign represents. I'll get to that later in the end of the show. And that is what we are building together. Not something controlled, but something earned. Not something handed down, but something built from the ground up. So just like everything else that has ever made this country strong, the question is not whether things are changing. The question is who will step up and lead the change. And I believe now more than ever, the answer is you, the listeners out there. And so we're going to get into our show here. This is The Pulse, and we're going to go to our guest. We'll bring on our first guest right now, or co-host, I would say. I'm sorry.
What's up, man?
Seth, the mad pirate, conservative corner. Seth, always glad to have you on, man. Seth is the man, conservative corner. He's a great show. One of the co-founders of this network. So, Seth, thanks for coming on again, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Right, and then we have Eleana Barbera, the base mother. Awesome, always joins us on The Pulse. She has a lot of insight. I mean, she blows me out of the water. She blows everyone out of the water. She's great. Eleana is awesome. Eleana, thank you very much for coming on. You are. I'm listening.
Don't get carried away, but thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah. Bring on our next guest. Then we have Frank, and we also have Rob. Frank is a young Republican, and he is young. Trust me, he is. He's 15. When he first reached out to me, I couldn't believe he was 15 years old. I'm like, I even cursed at him. I said, "Get that out of here. You're not 15 years old." And here he is. And then there's Rob, the diamond in the rough, the one that got me 1 million views, the golden goose.
That's right.
Running for mayor of Burlington Township in New Jersey. So thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you.
So we'll bring everybody on. We'll go in the first segment, and it's ballots, power, and control. Who really decides elections? And Frank, I'm going to start with you actually with this one. Who really decides elections? Because you've been door knocking a lot for you did it for Chitterelli. You're helping Justin Murphy. You're working on a lot of campaigns. So who really decides the elections?
Now, from what
I know the voters, but I'm saying like what gets people out?
What gets people out is the price of gas, the price of everyday living, the price of groceries. That's what gets people out to vote. How the infrastructure is. People realize that, but they listen to the mainstream media and what they say about President Trump and how it's the Republicans. So they vote Democrat. But if we can get people out to vote and say the Republicans will change things, that's how we can win. So really, it's the suburban communities decide elections.
All right. Well, Seth, I'll go to you. You're in Maryland. Okay. Now, New Jersey's the horse is a different color. New Jersey sucks in certain areas. I know you're going to say Maryland does too in certain areas. But we just don't get the voter turnout. What do we have to do to sway this and turn it right?
Well, the problem in Maryland is the Republican Central Committees and the Republican Party are more concerned about holiday parties and getting interviewed than they are about getting people excited about a candidate. Another issue is we have Republicans in our state, and I'm sure in your state too, that are attacking other Republicans who are running. We have Dan Cox is running for governor again in Maryland, and already there are people attacking him in the Republican Party. These people who are attacking him are either on central committees or want to be elected to central committees. And then they wonder why nobody wants to vote for anybody in Maryland. It's because they won't shut the fuck up. They don't know how to be quiet. If they don't like the candidate, that's fine. Keep that to yourself. He's a Republican. You're representing the Republican Party. Shut up. Nobody cares about your opinion. And especially if you're representing the party. If other people are looking to you like, hey, who should we support? And you start bad-mouthing Republican candidates because you don't like them, who wants to vote at that point? Like, well, I don't want to vote for him because they're saying this and this person's saying that about this person. You know what? There's too much drama. I'm not getting involved in it. I'm not voting. And if you can't get Republicans to come out and vote for Republicans, you're not going to get independents to come out. You're not going to get those people in the Democratic Party who are looking for something other than who's their candidate to vote for, because all they hear you doing is crying and complaining about the other candidates in your party. Nobody wants to vote. It's ridiculous. And then you still have people sending money to the Republican Party, donating money to it. And then they wonder why we can't get anybody elected in Maryland. Well, because you're an idiot and you're supporting other idiots. That's why we can't get anybody elected. So shut up and stop giving them your money.
All right, I hear you there, man. That's a good take on that. And I'm going to go to you, Rob, next, because you're in New Jersey. You know what New Jersey's like. We got wiped out in November. Chitterelli, everyone thought he was going to win. He stuck up a ton of money. NJGOP are complaining they don't have any money to donate towards candidates and all that now. And people were tight-walleted because they donated to Chitterelli's campaign. We got wiped. Well, not just here in New Jersey. It happened in Virginia, New York. There's other places too. There's off-season elections, but it's very tough to raise money here, and it's going to be very tough to get Republicans out to vote or anybody out to vote at this point. I mean, Democrats still come out in droves, but still maybe 50% come out, but Republicans not so much. How do we do that? Who's going to control these elections to get people elected? Like how we going to do it?
Sure. Thanks, Damon. That's a great question, and I think there's a few different ways that we can accomplish it. But the first thing is it's definitely doable, and I think we all have to have that mindset going into this year. I know that I certainly do in a local election. I know that I'm going to knock on every single door in Burlington Township. I can guarantee that. That's my promise. I'll have as many conversations as I can and try to make people realize that they're voting for the man and not the party necessarily. Republicans have made mistakes, sure. Democrats have made far more mistakes, in my opinion. And I think what we've done is we've allowed them to operate kind of without any accountability. And something that I just want to give a quick shout out to Mike from Wake Up New Jersey. He's really been focused on calling that stuff out on social media. He's a big account. There's some other big accounts out there like Teacher in New Jersey who gives more of a, moderate take on it, but still puts the information out there. Moms for Liberty in Bergen County. People doing some really good work on social media to call out the stuff that is happening and make sure everyone knows, hey, the bill that just passed that says illegal aliens can, commit crimes and we can't bring the federal government in. That's something that Democrats passed. They're passing these radical bills to where we have to worry about our children learning about gender ideology in second grade. I mean, some of the stuff that they're doing it's inexcusable. It's not American politics, and it needs to be called out. So if we can bring some light to that and then really go the grassroots way and get some young kids like Frank. Frank and I talk pretty often. He's working on the Cullen campaign a little bit as well. I think it really comes down to getting people out there and getting people excited, getting this next generation ready and ready to vote. One of the things that I'm doing through my nonprofit, Men of Action, Burlington County, is we're doing a Get Out the Vote campaign. It's nonpartisan, but there was a rule passed this year that if you're 17 years old during the primary, but you'll be 18 by the time the general election rolls around, you are able to vote in the primary. So that's some votes that I don't think many candidates are going to pick up. So kind of getting that information out there, starting to hit new avenues of voters and really focus on the youth is something the Republican Party hasn't done much of, and the Democrats have done really well.
Yeah, I didn't know about that new rule, but either way, I'm going to look into that as well. But there is one clip I want to play later before I go to you. I'll just roll this one clip. It's the only clip in this segment. We'll put it up there, and then we can talk about it. So we can roll that clip.
I have been warning about this for weeks. And now here we are. In trying to oppose the SAVE Act, Democrats have actually backed themselves into a corner, and now we're potentially staring down a vote on a national voter ID bill. Let me ask a very simple question. Since when is the Democratic Party for voter ID? Because let's be very clear about what is actually happening. The Save America Act is not about voter ID. It is about requiring proof of citizenship, talking passports, birth certificates. Some of these are papers that millions of eligible Americans do not have access to. Oh, and if you are a married woman who has changed your last name, well, good luck. This is a completely different standard. But instead of forcing that distinction, instead of solely having that conversation, the conversation has now collapsed into, do you support voter ID or not? And that, folks, is a trap. Because the argument for voter ID is actually built on a premise that does not hold up. People are not showing up to the polls pretending to be someone else in droves. That's actually not a widespread problem. We already verify identity in multiple ways throughout the country. Signature matching, right? Flawed, but a way to verify. Voter files, database checks. I mean, in everyday life, you can move money, verify who you are, without pulling out a physical ID. So, what problem are we actually solving here? We're not solving one. What this does is shift the frame from access.
So, Eleana, before I go to you, I just wanted to give you a little heads up. You already know what happened to me. They challenged my petition, and they tried to remove me from the ballot, my opponent. So when I was in court over this, the attorney for my opponent challenged the fact that how do we know that the person was of age that circulated your petition? I had Jack Brangan and Jennifer Sharman, who are both over 50. You know, and I said, well, when I was in court, I said, well, there's one thing that you have to show ID to get it notarized. That petition that they submitted, they gave to me, and I submitted it at the end notarized. They had to show ID. I said it's a little separate than what you think about voting. You don't want to show ID, but now you're saying they had to show ID to get my petition notarized, that the signatures for me. So that's what happened in court. So I'll turn it over to you after that. I just want to let you know.
You know, there's just so much nonsense and gobbledygook that she spoke in that video with such tremendous confidence. I really admire when they come out with it like that. The millions of people, she's like, she admitted that people do vote fraudulently. It's just not happening in droves. So don't worry about it. Like, you know, there's only a little bit of poison in the water. Don't worry about it. You know what? If it's not happening, it's not that big of a deal, then you won't mind if we just eliminate even the little bit. But we know what's happening bigger than they say it is. We know fully well. And I'm just so tired of being insulted that I'm not smart enough to get my birth certificate. I mean, your driver's license, you need your birth certificate. You or something, you know, you need multiple documents to do anything else. And she kind of made it seem like, oh, well, we already have to show ID for like stuff like this over here. So why do we have to do it everywhere? Like, it's so illogical and ridiculous. And I'm really exhausted by the conversation. Yeah, I do want the full SAVE Act. I do want proof of citizenship upon registration and photo ID. Because, you know, I want to eliminate mail-in ballots. I worked at the Brevard County Board of Elections for the 2024 elections. I worked on the mail-in ballot team, and I took the job. It was temporary, just so I could learn the process and see what I could, where the holes are. And they're pretty tight here in Florida, but there's so much room for error. So much room for human error and so much room for sneaking things in. And I really realize exactly how vulnerable our elections are. And I'm in a pretty tight state. So to that lady, get bent, get lost. I would love to see this whole thing go to a national vote. Let's do it that way. And let's all have to show our IDs to vote, to make the vote. You know, because that's the thing. Like, how do we even trust that vote? Would be kind of ironic if we had a national vote because we don't trust it. I can't.
Someone's having a sugar rush.
Yeah, and I'll turn this over to anybody else who wants to pick it up.
Yeah,
I'm married. I'm married, and what she said about being, oh God, changed her last name. And I go, oh, well, I got married. My wife changed her last name, and she votes. I don't understand. So you guys take it from there.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Our machines already have a scan feature where you can scan the driver's license or state ID. So as you know, I think that would make it a lot more secure. Another point in Newark in 2020, over 20% of the ballots were fraudulent and they had to be recast. So the notion that there isn't widespread voter fraud I think is quite ridiculous. And then if you compare 2020 Biden Trump to 2025 Chitterelli versus Rebecca, it looks pretty much the same, right? Like 2.1 million people voted in New Jersey elections for governor forever. Then all of a sudden, there's a million more people showed up, and there's 900,000 illegals in the state of New Jersey. I mean, where I'm from, we call a spade, and there's got to be some changes made here. The GOP has to stand up and demand those changes and fight it in court. And you know, we have to do what the Democrats do, and that's make a big scene about everything that we want changed.
Yeah, I just want to respond to one thing you said about IDs being scanned. That's only good in places where illegal aliens aren't being given IDs and automatically registered to vote.
True. Yep.
Yeah, we still need the citizenship verification.
And look, some of the people in Washington want to run our elections like they run a post office, and that is for ballots to show up 3 weeks late and slightly damp. So the mail-in ballots will not work because you could sit there and they just fill them out, and you see videos of people putting a bunch of ballots into a box.
Mm-hmm.
They're rigging our elections by doing this. It's not fair. Come out to the polls on election day and you vote there. You show an ID. Damon, when you and I went to Trenton to get into the state house, they wanted me to show an ID, which I did not have. So I had to give the guy my debit card. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, Frank's only 15. He's like, I don't have a driver's license, and he wanted to go with me for the experience and submit the petition in Trenton and all that. And I didn't even realize it. He's like, well, I don't have a license or ID. I have my debit card. I'm like, oh man, I hope he doesn't sit. It was raining out. I'm like, hoping it doesn't have to sit out in the rain while I sit there for hours waiting to submit my petition. But yeah, the guy let him in. I said, he's 15. Let's go.
Yeah, I have a question. That 17-year-old voting thing. What state is that?
That's New Jersey.
That's a load of crap right there. That is, I don't know how that passed. The whole slippery slope with, Ayanna Pressley in Boston and Massachusetts, the rep, she had wanted to push for 16-year-old ID. And this is so that teachers can brainwash and indoctrinate kids and they can get millions more high school voters. Like, I would be raging against that if that were in my state, and nobody is.
No,
I didn't even know about it.
Well, there was a video of Christine Hanlon, who's the chair of the NJGOP, and she had put it out there. I think just to make sure, like, the premise is if you're 17 during the primary voting period in June, but you'll be 18 by November, by the general election, you're allowed to vote in the primary.
I understand. I don't like it. It's not. It's still. It has the exact same poison that I just mentioned,
Right.
and it is a slippery slope step towards lowering the voting age so that they can get children they can get more voters who are more easily influenced. That is exactly what that is. Mark my words.
I think they were already letting 16-year-olds vote in Newark on the school board election.
Yeah, yes,
I think I heard that.
I remember that. Yeah. When did that get codified in Trenton in the law? That I've been following a lot. So we have, Jack and Constance. They have the New Jersey State House Watch podcast under this network. I never heard them bring it up, and they pay close attention to it. Is it something that's codified in the law, or is it something that they're trying to do?
I don't know. I heard from I forget who it was, but they had said that they were trying to do it.
All right. Well, anybody that's out there listening right now, again, I should have said earlier, go into the chat and you can ask a question, or if we're missing something. If you know anything about it, throw it in there. Jack, I don't know if you're watching. Constance, I don't know if you're watching. But and it doesn't matter what we're talking about. You can put something in the chat, a question, a statement, whatever. We'll put it on the screen. We'll talk about it. So, and make sure you like and subscribe to the America's Pulse Network and to the Pulse Podcast.
Yeah.
So, Seth, before we take a quick break, you got anything to add in this segment?
No, I we all can sit around and talk about what needs to be done and how it has to happen and what should happen until the Republican Party grows a set of balls. It's just talk. We're just spinning our wheels, hoping against hope, because there's really no Republicans in any authority position right now that have a spine. They want to get along. They don't want to make waves. And as soon as something goes against them, they go with the flow. I'm seriously considered changing my affiliation to independent because I don't care. The Republican Party left me a long time ago. Why do I want to continue to bolster their numbers and make them look like they're doing something good when they're not? They're not doing anything for me. Haven't done anything for me in years. But they make all the promises in the world. As long as there's sheep out there that take those promises as gospel and keep feeding them money, nothing's going to change in the party. Nothing.
Yeah, and back to the 16-year-olds voting. They're doing that because in the schools they're indoctrinating the kids at school, and they're going to tell them who to vote for. We've already seen it. The teachers indoctrinate the students with the curriculum, and until they vote, they'll probably set up the machines at the school and tell the kids to go vote for the Democrats. So
Right.
What New Jersey did is just another step closer to 16-year-olds voting.
Yep.
I don't. All right. Before we take a break, I just want to say I don't understand when people don't see this. Like it's wide open borders, having all these illegals. We have over 900,000 in the state of New Jersey. All right, and it costs us $7.3 billion a year of taxpayers. I mean, I'm not just New Jersey. I'm sure in Maryland, Florida, whoever. There's illegals everywhere. And it's like, but they want them to stay here so they can vote, and that's why the Democrats did this. I mean. Listen, Republicans aren't perfect. Like Seth just said, like he said they left him, they might have left him a while ago. Like I used to be a Democrat. Democrat Party left me a long time ago. And that's why I became a Republican. But Seth had a good point too. Republicans, they're not perfect, but the Democrats are the end all be all to just destruction of this country. They really are. They want wide open borders, let everybody in. They don't care what happens to people. They don't care if women get murdered, raped, children get trafficked. That's
the thing. The Republican Party knows all that, and they don't do anything to stop it. Well, they make speeches and they pound their chest. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to get this person in front of us, and we're going to hold them accountable. But they don't.
Well, they don't hold them accountable. Yeah, but one thing I would say, at least they closed the border. All right, how about that? But at least we're doing a little bit better than the Democrats.
But that's like saying this pile of dog shit doesn't smell as bad as that pile of dog shit, so I'm going to go with the one that's less smelly. They're still shit.
I don't know. I'd rather have Trump in there than.
But I don't think Trump's I think Trump's more independent. I think he's fed up with the Republican Party too. I think he sees the bullshit in the party. He's like, you know what? I can't fight them and my party at the same time. I can't do both. I can't. And then the Republicans will go out there and bash him. If you don't like him, talk to him. Go out. You have access to the man. Say something to him. Don't make it public. Bite your tongue. It's getting aggravating. I have a stroke over it.
Well, all the Republicans do is go on Facebook and they cry about it on their accounts.
But it works.
Doing something.
It works.
Well, I don't know. Action speaks louder than words to me. So, but all right, guys.
Run for office.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's more. The thing is, they just real quick, they've made the system very complicated, and they put up barriers for the average person. So, instead of I think what our job is to, instead of berating people and saying they're not doing anything, they just sit home, literally tell people what they can do. I had a conversation in 2024 with somebody who explained, something to me that I could do. And it was about, he said, you go out and you get 3 new voters registered, people who aren't registered, and then get them to the polls and tell each of them to do that. And I did that. And, one of those people was my aunt, who was 77 years old and had never voted in her life. And the first time she voted in 2024 was for President Trump. Her son also wasn't a voter. He got registered and voted for President Trump, and I got somebody else, and she actually went out and extended beyond herself. So I created this tree of branches because somebody told me to do it. And that was such an easy, simple thing for me as a citizen to do to make a difference. And if we started talking like that to everyday people, everyone I talked to was like, yeah, I could do that. That's easy enough. I can get somebody registered and make sure they get to the polls. I can do that. If we did that, all those people that are sitting home and then some would be at the polls. So be careful with the getting mad at everybody for not doing anything. We have to feed people exact steps.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Good point. So, all right. With that, we're going to take our first break. Donald W4 said Eleana is right. There you go. See, I gave you props at the beginning, said you were awesome. So even Donald believes it.
Sometimes.
All right. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Everyone stay tuned.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Eleana, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It looks like Rob might have dropped off for a second. I don't see him there. But this is the Pulse segment number 2, the media meltdown. No one trusts them anymore. So I'm going to bring up a couple still shots here. We had some Sandra and Leanne, average New Jersey residents, need to be optimistic that their situation can change. So many apathetic and have lost hope that anyone will change. Doom and gloom, no patience. Our awesome GOP candidates this year can give people the optimism and hope for the future. There it is. Well, thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that. Hopefully that's how it goes down. Yeah, everyone is down and out in New Jersey and in other states as well. I mean, they're wiped out in November, but we have to pick up the speed, get back up, and keep going. So, in this one, this one's about media, and you guys know, Eleana and Seth, especially how much I hate mainstream media. Like I always go, I can't stand them. So I'm going to put up a couple slides real quick and then show just some headlines about mainstream media here. So here we go. In the Pew Research Center, majority of Americans express low confidence in journalists to act in public's best interest because they're not even journalists because they're all biased. So I'm going to show that one. I'll go to you first, Rob, on this one. So what do you think of? I never asked you this question before. What do you think about mainstream media? Because there's a couple more slides and there's also a graph that I have to show in the end.
Mainstream media, I believe, has been corrupt for a long time, but it was COVID that really brought that to light. When you have the government paying off, or not paying off, but demanding social media is censoring certain things, you start talking about things that authoritarian governments have done previously. I know everyone talks about how Republicans are like that, but it's very obvious that the Democrats, and again, we have to make sure that we're continuing to say these things. The Democrats have always tried to control the media and the narrative, but what have we done about it? So I think mainstream media continues to be left leaning, besides really Fox, and even sometimes Fox News. I've seen some pretty disappointing stuff. They continue to lean left. They continue to be influenced by, the minority loudest voices on the internet, which happen to be these socialist, Marxist type individuals that garner the most attention. So I think the mainstream media has done us a great disservice. I also think that they've probably been corrupt for a lot longer than we realize, but we just kind of uncovered that catching them red-handed in right around 2020.
Yeah, you're there. And Seth, I'll go to you next with this. One thing Rob said, what are we doing about it? Well, this is what we're doing about it right here, right now. You're a co-founder of this network. You have your own show, Server Corner. So what are your thoughts on this? Because I want to actually, let me bring up the next clip real quick. It's just a still picture, and we'll show that and go from there. So trust in media at a new low of 28% in the United States, which, I mean, that's higher than I have, but still, that's a new low. So Seth, what are your thoughts?
People, I think we talked about it last Wednesday when it comes to things. People don't educate themselves on anything. We've become a microwave society. We want it, and we want it now. And if I have to look into something more than 10 seconds, I'm not interested anymore. It takes too long. So I'm just going to let somebody else do it for me. People are starting to wake up a little bit. I mean, I don't put much weight into polls, because if I pay for a poll and say, look, I want to find out if people really think brown chocolate milk comes from brown cows. If I'm paying for the poll, they're going to show that people do. It's all who pays for the polls, and what you're looking for is how you're going to get it. So I don't put much weight into polls on either side. But people are starting to wake up a little bit. They're starting to see that media is no more. It's no different than a game show. If it's going to draw in some ratings, they're going to talk about it. And the more people that watch it, the more they're going to talk about it. They're going to make it look so important. They're going to embellish. I mean, look at Tucker Carlson, that wet dick. The dude hasn't said anything honest in the last 7-8 months. He is he's a perfect argument for pro-choice. I don't think he remembers the last time he was honest. And then you got the insane moron Candace Owens talking about time travel and mutant academies, and people.
I used to love them, but now I can't.
Never did. I never liked either one of them. The only person I really liked was Bongino, and I liked Crowder. Sometimes you can get like, dude, just stop. You got your point across, let it go. Mm-hmm. But I never liked Candace Owens. I never liked Tucker Carlson. I've never liked the Hodge twins. They all came across as pompous. I know everything. If you don't believe me, you're a nut. And they attract those kind of people. They attract the tinfoil hat wearers. And unfortunately, their audience is growing. And they're just as dangerous as the mainstream media, because they don't have a filter. They're not on a TV show or on cable. They can say whatever they want to say, and nobody's going to say anything. Like Candace Owens, time travel. I mean, come on. Really? How stupid do you have to be to believe time travel played a part in Charlie Kirk's death? How dumb do you got to believe? Listen to Tucker Carlson. The Israelis, they detained me and questioned me in the Israeli airport, and they have video that shows that didn't happen. And
you never watched that movie Interstellar? I mean,
yes. I don't know what's in the air, but people need to stop trusting people on podcasts just as much as they don't trust people in the mainstream media, because those are 3 good examples of people that will just lie to you simply to get vote, simply to get thumbs up and go viral and get paid. They'll say whatever they got to say. People have got to educate themselves. Stop being fed spoonfuls of bullshit while they're telling you it's pudding and you're eating it up. Take 10 minutes and just look into something. You're going to be shocked at what you find most of the time. Every once in a while, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Like, oh, that's what I thought to begin with. I didn't really learn much, but now I know for a fact that what I thought is the truth. Stop taking people at face value. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right. So Frank, I'm going to go to you next because you are obviously younger than all of us. So, and social media is huge with younger people, and so is podcasts now. Do you think podcasts are the future? Other than because I'm before I go to Lane after you, I'm going to bring up a graph and I'll show what mainstream media has died for the past 10 years. But what's your thoughts as a young person?
Well, the mainstream media today has as much credibility as a used car salesman who's trying to sell you a convertible in the rain. So what we really have to do is the people on social media. You have Nick Fuentes, who's even the podcasters are a threat. Nick Fuentes makes the Republican Party and the conservative movement look they make us look very bad, ignorant. Yeah,
He's a scumbag.
Yeah, that's why I like this podcast, America's Pulse Network, and I like to listen to Glenn Beck because really this is where you get the truth from. So social media and the podcasts are a big player. You have threats to the truth, like Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. They're threats to the conservative movement, I strongly believe.
All right. Well, thank you for that information, Frank. So, there was another slide I could put up real quick, and we can throw it up, and then we can put up the graph before I go to Elena. So, is the anti-Trump audience no longer relies on CNN and media evolution analysis? And then we'll go to this graph that I put together, how mainstream media has plummeted in the past decade. Now, Fox is the only one that is up top in the green that hasn't really. I mean, they're still down. All mainstream media is down, but they're at least the ones that are surviving a little bit better. And obviously, you know why. But Elaine, what are your thoughts on mainstream media and focus on podcasts? And then, Elena, I do have a two-part question for you. I always hit you with this. I know you're like, oh, you're asking so many questions. But so your thoughts on the mainstream media, and then what podcasts are the future, and then also I want to get into Section 230 with social media platforms as well. And we can talk about that after your first response.
Okay, yeah, you're going to have to give me a little primer on that second part.
Okay.
The problem, there's a new problem that I discovered over the weekend in a conversation with a young woman. That headline that you just showed, that people aren't, they don't, even the left isn't getting their information from CNN and all that anymore. I was talking to this young woman, and she's like, oh, the moon mission is just another thing to distract us. And I said, listen, I agree that they roll things out to distract us, but everything isn't a distraction. You have to be able to discern, what is, what isn't. You have to be able to discern truth from fiction. And she was like, oh, nothing is true. It's all lies. And they don't pay attention to the Constitution. And when I started asking her, she had zero substance, kind of to what a nod to what Seth was talking about. Like no actual facts to back her up, because she didn't do any research. And then I said to her, and I was really patient, I said, well, listen, I challenge you. Why don't you read the Constitution? Take a good look at it. Start to sit with the ideas. And I'm trying to get a sentence out. And she goes, we don't even know if the people who they say wrote it, just, and
aliens did.
What I got out of it was, we're about to face a new battle against a new enemy, because for the past 10 years, it's been them saying my truth. And, it was like, that obvious thing. There isn't my truth, your truth. There's just the truth. But now we're graduating into this ideology that's taking hold, that there is no truth. And when people don't believe anything,
yeah,
part of that is based in what Seth was saying. They're not doing any research. But you can't, if you think you can't talk to a liberal now, just wait until you meet one like that. There was no productive, no shot in hell of having a productive conversation. So where they're getting that kind of information from, I don't know. I see the world as a battle of good and evil. Like, this is some satanic shit here, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Well, they get all their information from TikTok, because that's the only place that they're on all day. They sit there on TikTok. They don't have a job, and they just make up stuff on the internet, and they think people will believe it, and people do, because they don't do their own research like they should be doing.
I read something about that over the last I think it was a decade, maybe a little bit longer, that attention spans literally have grown shorter because of TikTok.
Yes.
People look at things, they want everything in 10 seconds, or they're no longer interested. Like I said earlier, it's like a study that they've shown that attention spans have gone down
Yes.
because information comes out quicker. So they don't have time to look into anything. 10 seconds, move on. 10 seconds, move on. It's sad.
And this generation is the first generation to be less cognitively inclined than
It's all your fault,
their
Frank. It's
previous.
your generation. It's all your fault. You know?
Well, I was not responsible for
No, I
that.
know.
Well, I think it's our fault that we
Yeah,
fed
right.
them these devices.
Yeah, my kids don't get screen time anymore, so
Right
Well,
on.
My kids
Love
got screen time at school. Nothing I can do about it. They put them on a computer the second they walk
that's
in.
true. That's true. I did my son's party the other day, and I saw him on his laptop at school, and I was like,
From the second they walk in to the second they walk out.
yeah, it's bad.
Well, one thing I want to do before we get out of this segment, it's part 2 of that question, Section 230. Now, if mainstream media is going downhill and people are going to podcasts and to social media, Section 230 is a law that prohibits people from suing like Facebook, X, social media platforms.
Okay.
So basically, if I go on Facebook, say, and I post something, I said it, not Facebook, so they can't be sued. It's not like George Stephanopoulos when Trump sued him for defamation of character and he won because he works for a network. And so it's me saying it on their platform. So that's what Section 230 blocks, protects them from.
Mhm.
But point being, I said it before, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And Eleana, I know you've had issues with social media. APN has too. We got booted off of YouTube because we talked about. I'm sure you did. I know you did, Seth.
No, I got us kicked off.
I'm surprised they're still letting you on at this point. But we talked about B17 and apricot seeds, and it's like, and we got booted for that. It's like, that's insane.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
it's crazy. So if you are protected and can't get sued for something that someone says, but then you can control what someone says and take them down and remove them from the platform, how does that work? That's what's on my platform on votedamongaldo.com. That's one of my issues. Either remove it or change it. Section 230, one or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So I'll start with you, Elaine. We'll just go around to everybody else.
Yeah, I think they should not be held liable. I agree, but I also think that I shouldn't have to follow their rules. It's like a party, like it's called social media because it's like let's pretend we're all at a coffee shop, except and you're talking about apricot seeds, and I'm trying to tell you about the horrors of abortion, but I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube, but I can say it here as long as we're not doing something illegal. Then you're getting kicked out of the party. Then you're out. That I understand. But a free exchange marketplace of ideas is what we should be having. And they shouldn't be responsible for things that come out of my mouth. But I don't want them policing me. I agree. They can't have their cake. If they're going to be protected, I want to be protected also. And I want my free speech protected. So I hope I made sense. But I just want the most freedom for everybody within the limits of the law at all times.
All right. Anybody else can jump in? Whoever wants to jump in next.
Those places are platforms, not publishers. They have no say on what's said on their site. So, like you said, it has to go both ways. If I can't sue X because the Hammer makes fun of me, they can't ban me for saying COVID was fake. It never happened. You can't. It's either or. Either I can sue you, X, and you can ban me, or I can't sue you, and you need to stay the hell out of my way unless I'm breaking laws. So yeah, they are platforms, not publishers. They should have no say at all, as long as it's, like Eleana said, within the letter of the law, what you post. They should have no say, whether they like it or not, or no matter how outlandish it is, like mutant academies or time travel. They should not be involved with that and let it go.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I think we got to be a little bit more careful with children, but that's kind of a double-edged sword because it gets into age verification and things like that. I know that Australia just banned Instagram for anyone that's under 16, which, goes back to the screen time thing, and is social media good for kids, and how much do we want the government meddling in what we're doing? I think it's probably up to each individual social media platform. But one thing that I will say is, if you're calling for someone to be harmed, that I don't know that there's a law that's necessarily against that. And in my opinion, that's one thing that has led to the violence against conservatives. I'm only in politics because of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and I decided to step up. And, if he gave his life for the conservative movement, I am a conservative. I believe the same things that he did, that I needed to kind of step forward. And that whole thing has been obviously politicized, and the Candace Owens,
it's a big moneymaker now.
Right, exactly. But my point is, I don't know if that happens if people are allowed to, I think it's called stochastic terrorism, where they're actually calling for, but in a way, but not calling for violence against conservatives, or the other way around. So
I'm going to say, in response to that, I'm an absolutely, positively, no restrictions kind of a person. And freedom is uncomfortable sometimes.
Sure.
That's just the reality of it. And again, if they're not doing anything illegal, let's let the market of ideas work itself out. If I'm at a party and somebody is saying things that I absolutely make my skin crawl, I just leave, whether it's an online party or an in-person party. And if the lunatics want to stay and have that conversation, who am I to? They're going to do it in person or online. Let them have at it. I don't want to turn into England and say, I don't like that, so you can't say it. And because what's the line? Then we all get to pick a list of things we don't like.
Right. Sure.
That's my take on it, So, but I understand your concern, but I also poo-poo it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I just think if they're able to control our speech, why weren't they controlling that speech? And that kind of goes back to, they're obviously biased towards one side.
And also something you said about younger, like kids on social media, and there's a law that says under 16 they can't be on TikTok or something like that.
In Australia.
Yeah. My whole point with that is there should be no restrictions. Parents need to be goddamn parents.
Yeah. There you go.
Exactly. You need to know what your kids are doing. If they're going online, look over their shoulder, find out what they're doing. Who are they talking to? What sites are they going to? Yep. Don't put that responsibility on the government and then complain that the government's too much in your life. You just invited them in.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Be a parent.
Yeah, I check Frank's social media all the time. Make sure he's not looking at it.
I clear my browser every night, so you're not going to find anything.
But there's one clip I would play. It kind of fits in this segment too. But it just shows you what mainstream media does. And I just wanted to get into that section 230. I thought it was pretty important because it's on my platform. Because it's not right. You can't have a cake and eat it too. So you can't have it both ways. So I'm going to play this just one clip real fast, and then Frank, and we'll go with you. You can end this segment after this clip, and what do you think? And which video? Oh, our producer, which video? It was okay. It was the one of everyone repeating themselves over and over again, saying, "All right, maybe it's in the next one."
Kamala also chiming in, saying Trump is, quote, threatening to commit war crimes, which echoes these other libs.
Would those be war crimes the United States was committing?
The way this is set up, the answer to that question is straightforward. It's yes, they would be, because this is punitive.
It would be a war crime.
This is a moral crime. It is a war crime. We need to be demanding that Congress convene today, and we need to be invoking the 25th Amendment.
We have a completely unhinged president who is threatening massive war crimes against the Iranian people.
Some sort of homicidal psychopath.
Old enough to remember the Nuremberg trial 10 years from now, we'd be doing
Nuremberg.
So, all right. So, Frank, I hate to dump this one on you, but you're pretty smart for a young guy. But looking at that with the war crimes, that's mainstream media right there. And that's what people don't trust them. And they're already talking about invoking the 25th Amendment again. and again. They always do. But it's a war crime. I don't know if you know the news that Iran, the government was trying to get 12-year-old children to, surround their power plants.
They did that.
Yeah, they had human chains.
Exactly. So I mean, it's like, come on. The war crime is somebody that is putting kids in harm's way. That's the war crime. Not not a target in a war. It's not a war crime. Now, granted, Trump in the beginning of his statement was like, "What do you mean you're going to eradicate a civilization?" I'm like, yeah, but that's just Trump's style, the way he says stuff. And then he said, "God bless the Iranians" and all that. I know the way he talks sometimes throws people through a loop, and I think he does it on purpose. But either way, they're all over it. War crime, war crime, war crime. No, the war crime is putting children in front of a target. So, what do you think about that with the mainstream media?
Well, I saw that left-wing nut that was just on our screen comparing Donald Trump to the Nuremberg trials, and you see who was at Nuremberg. You had the leader of the Luftwaffe. You had SS people. They were terrible people who killed millions upon millions of people and organized terrible things to the Jewish people and other minorities in Europe at the time. And you have someone comparing the president of the United States, who's defeating a terrorist regime, to Nazis. They shouldn't be allowed on the TV to be saying that. And why are you a member of Congress? And
Nope.
Oh,
They cut them off.
Oh, man, we lost.
They heard you, Frank.
I don't know what happened, but
There he is. He's back.
Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah,
you're
you're
back.
back.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but
The
I don't know
Chinese-
why. I don't know why we have elected officials comparing the president of the United States to Nazi leaders, and this is an Iranian war crime. Putting the children there, this wouldn't be one that Trump would be committing.
You know
So
what
I
another
don't-
war crime is? Having your soldiers not wear a uniform and engaging in combat, like they do in Gaza, like they do in Iran. Those are against the Geneva Convention. Those are war crimes.
And they're using child soldiers and using people as human shields.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who's the war criminal here? It's the Iranians, not Donald Trump.
It's Trump.
My man Frank. That's why I left that one for you. Way to close out the segment, buddy. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Segment 3, Working People versus the Machine. And we have two more, well, technically 3 more segments, but the last one's going to be very short. It's just a funny one that I put out there.
No, we lost Damon.
Yeah,
He is.
joined. I don't know what happened here. Oh,
Well, if he
I'm back.
goes away, I'll just sing a
Yeah.
song. I'll do a song and dance number.
Am I back? So I don't know what happened there.
You're back.
But yeah, so we'll roll through the next 2 segments rather quickly. This is Working Man versus the Machine, and I'm going to play a real quick clip. This is basically, why I want to put it in here. I'm the carpenters union. I work with my hands, as if built by working hands is my shirt. But now we have AI. AI is taking up a lot of jobs. A lot of layoffs are going off right now. So I'll play this clip and then we'll talk about it.
These corporate CEOs are saying the quiet part out loud, and now in 2026, we could be seeing the mass layoffs start. Oracle, one of the biggest software companies in the world, just announced a 20 to 30,000 employee layoff. They sent the emails at 6 a.m. Almost 20% of their workforce got terminated. At the same time, Block, a payments company run by Jack Dorsey, who co-founded Twitter, they just laid off 40% of their workforce and blamed AI. And potentially even the biggest of them all, there's now rumors swirling that Meta could be on the cusp of doing a 20% layoff. And this is unlike anything we've seen before, everyone. There was chatter about AI-driven layoffs 6 to 12 months ago. There was some companies cutting people, but not like this. That Oracle layoff that just happened is one of the biggest layoffs to occur since 2009 in terms of overall headcount. And one has to wonder, folks, like, is AI going to take all the jobs? Is AI going to mean mass layoffs continually over the next couple years? You talk to the CEO of Anthropic, who developed Claude, the AI tool, they would say yes. CEO of Anthropic came out and wrote a paper about a year ago. He thinks 50% of all white-collar jobs are going to be eliminated in the next decade due to AI. You talk to the CEO of Uber, he's saying something similar. He was saying he thinks 70 to 80% of these type of jobs could be eliminated in the next decade. These CEOs are saying the quiet.
Well, there you go. That's what I mean. Everyone knew it was coming. This stuff could happen. I would say I'm safer than anyone else for now. Until you have a robot to do my job. I'm sure it'll come one day, but at least I'm good probably for the rest of my lifetime, I would say. But what do you guys think about this? I mean, I'll start with you, Elena. What do you think about AI taking over jobs for people? How are we going to survive it? Like, not me, I'm saying, but like people that are in these type of positions that are getting laid off.
Well, the bad news is the monster has been created, and there's no putting this genie back in the bottle. It's here, and it's going to just get worse. The good news is there is a tremendous need in the trades, and if we can just get young people to switch their minds from sitting behind a desk all day and getting out there, we're going to have plumbers making $200,000-$300,000 a year within the next few years, because there is a tremendous need. So there is opportunity still out there. Everything, just because we're going to lose some jobs in the white collar sector, we can fill needs. And if we ever clear the country of all these, H-1B visas or HB1, whatever, H-1B visas, and we clear the construction industries of illegal immigrants, we can give these jobs back to Americans. So I don't think it's hopeless, but I think this is really going to hurt. One more thing, though. I recently talked with somebody who offered to help me manage my social media, and he said, we can do the research and we can actually just use an AI avatar of you to tell your story so you don't have to do all your filming. And I said, I will never, ever do that. That just sounds atrocious. And I want to be a part of this. I do this because I enjoy it. I want authenticity. And I think the more people use AI at some point, there is going to be some pullback where people long for things that are real. And those of us that, stay the course of doing things the old fashioned way will actually endure on the other side of the storm.
I hear you there. So, I'll go with you next, Frank, because you're young, you're still in high school. One of the things I try to push forward is we used to have like VOTECs, like trade schools in high school. You go to a VOTEC too, and you would, if you had maybe your junior, senior year, you chose a trade, a carpentry, plumber, electrician, whatever it is. Even if you want, I've been pushing to get the unions involved in that. Norcross actually stole that from me, so that's a battle for later to go over. But it's because you're always going to need a carpenter, you're going to need a plumber, you're going to need an electrician until it gets so advanced. I mean, I'm sure one day things are going to change. I mean, but in high school, did they offer anything in school do you go to, anything like that?
Nope. No, they do not. And it's bad because people are gonna once graduates, what are you gonna do? How are you going to change oil in your car? How are you going to fix a leaky faucet? They don't know how to do that.
So, all right, well, good answer. I mean, you're right about that. I just I didn't know if they had that in your school. I know I was trying to advocate for that, to have like a vote tech type thing, and it will help because what the unions have. I have my gripes. I'm a union member. I do have some gripes from here and there because they won't endorse me. They endorse my opponent. But anyway, but some of the unions do endorse Republicans, and I'm working on that. But my point is, if you were in high school and you could pick a trade, just like you pick a language, like Spanish, something you have to take, you could actually cut like a year or two out of your apprenticeship, getting into the union and become a tradesman. So that's why I want to ask that question to you. So Seth, I'll go to you. What do you think? I know you have some skill in.
I've always been a huge proponent of trade schools and and VOTech or whatever we call it, CTT or something like that. CCT here. I always remember parents when I was younger, they're telling their kids, "Hey, look, if you don't do good in school, you'll be out there, and pointing to like a construction work. You'll end up doing that." How's that working out for those parents now? How they no longer can do because a computer can do it for them. I don't feel sorry for any of these people. I really don't. The people who are in these jobs are probably the ones that had the parents telling them, if you don't do good in school, you'll be digging ditches the rest of your life. You'll be in the house or something. So I don't feel sorry for these people. Trade school. I think I read somewhere 45% of all only 45% of jobs out there, or maybe a little less, require a college degree now. You can you go to trade school, you learn something you can do. You get out, you're $30,000-$40,000 in debt. Most of these trade schools will help you find a job so you can start working right away rather than go to school for 4 or 5 years, end up with $300,000 worth of debt, and then get out, and 9 times out of 10, you're not even working in the same field you got a degree in. Yep. So you've just wasted all that money, and you're not even using it. Go to trade schools. Learn something. It's cool to do stuff with your hands. There's nothing wrong with that. And like Eleana said, stuff's always going to break down, so people need to fix stuff. The computers that these AIs work on, they're going to break down. They're going to need somebody to fix them. Go to trade school, learn a trade. It'll never go out of fashion. People need houses. They need running water. They need heat. They need cooling. Learn to do stuff with your hands, and you will always have a job. Don't worry about being worried about I didn't get into the Ivy League school, or I didn't get into this college. Nobody cares anymore. Get a job that will take care of you for the rest of your life. Guaranteed take care of you for the rest of your life. Do it, and you'll never regret it. Never.
Yeah, and Rob, I'll end this segment with you. You mentioned Charlie Kirk earlier that got involved. Now, Charlie would always say the college scam. He wrote that book. And I wrote an article about it as well, about how college is a scam, that you go there and you get a job. I go to a class for I'm making a joke. My co-host used to say this, Pete, underwater basket weaving, or lesbian dance theory. You know what I mean? And you're never going to get a job in that. But they charge you so much. And then I wrote the article back in the day. It started with Lyndon B. Johnson. He started it with government loans for college. And then Clinton pushed it forward more. And then Obama pretty much sealed the deal on it, where you can take it. I can go to college for the rest of my life if I wanted to, and take loan after loan. It doesn't matter my credit score. I can just keep going. That's it. Yep. And then, but so it's basically government reaching into your pocket and taking money and giving these students to go and scamming them. This is a scam. Charlie was right. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Charlie was right. Per usual, he was right about Iran as well, looks like. I will take it a different route, actually. And I wrote a paper when I went back to college after the military, and it's called the 7-year plan. I think that every high school student should at least sit down with a recruiter for the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and Coast Guard, and figure out if there's a job in one of those branches that you may consider doing, for the rest of your life. And you'll find that you'll do 3 years in the military. You'll come out of the military. You'll have the post 9/11 GI Bill, which will pay for you to either go to college or to a trade school. And by the time you get out of college or your trade school, you know, you have 7 years of experience in that field. You have zero college debt, and you know, you're kind of 10 steps ahead of the average, what it would be 25-year-old nowadays who's still living with their parents. So I tell young kids that all the time through my nonprofit Men of Action mentorship. I think it's a great option. I'm not saying it's the only option. I'm not saying you're not going to get deployed, and you know, even if you aren't deployed, you know, you could still get pretty banged up. But you know, I'm a disabled veteran, and the Army takes care of me a little bit as far as monetarily, and you know, I get free health care. So there's benefits. The VA is not as bad as people say it is, and I would just really consider it if you are in high school and you know you listen to this show. It's definitely something to talk about, and you can definitely reach out to me, and I'd love to have that conversation with anyone, parents or students as well.
All right, awesome. Well, it looks like Frank dropped off again for a second. I don't know what happened there, but either way, Frank can come on after this break. We'll take another quick break, and we'll go to the next segment.
I was having a staring contest with him.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun, and it's informative, and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media. Just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I just seen some post by Charlie Sue there. Wish there were names under each speaker under their image. There is. Maybe there wasn't. There's not right now. Maybe we have to just change the configuration, but our names are typically under there. So a great producer, if we can work that out.
Somebody screwed up.
What's that?
Is she looking for somebody that screwed up? Like,
no. She shares a lot of stuff on X, and she's awesome. So that's what she was looking for. I know they were there earlier. I don't know where they went, but maybe after Frank dropped off. There we go. There's the names. All right. So this last segment, we'll go through this real quick. So 250 years coming up for the United States. You know, that's America's birthday. My son can't wait. He's born on the 4th of July, and he loves it. He's like, I share a birthday with America. You know, he says he's 7 years old. He'll be 8, and he can't wait for it. But are we going to see 300 years? We'll go around the room real quick, and I just want to ask you guys. And everything that's going on right now, I know we're in the war with Iran right now. I'm not too worried about that. I think it's going to end soon. And I know there's always threats, but I'm more concerned about the people who live here in the United States. I think we're divided, and there's crazy freaking people out there in this country. And it's like I just don't understand them. Is it going to spread like a virus, you know, and get worse? Are we going to see 300 years? I can't wait for the 250-year anniversary, but are we going to? I know I'm not going to see 300 years. I'll be dead by then. I'm just saying the United States are going to see 300 years. So anybody can take it from here. Whoever wants to jump in first.
If it's left up to this generation, no. We are going to kill this. We're going to destroy this country, or let it be destroyed. If you're raising your children right, if you're raising your grandchildren, or helping raise your grandchildren right, we have a chance. My son, on his own, decided he wants to join the military when he graduates high school. Wants to go in the Marines.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was in the Navy, so I'm a little worried about my son being a crayon eater. But you know what? He's taken that initiative. He wants to serve his country. And that's not the only way you can help your country. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you don't serve the country, you're not I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you can raise your children to take initiative, to do what is right and follow through with it, whether it be trade school, whether it be going right into the workforce, but instill that America is, without a doubt, the greatest country in the world. We are not perfect. I will never claim this country is perfect. We have things we could fix. We always will have things we can fix. But no one's trying to break into China. No one's trying to break into Italy. No one's crossing deserts and risking their life to get into England. They are coming here. Everybody's coming here for a reason. Because we try. We admit our failures and try to correct them. Slavery, yeah, we knew it was wrong. We fixed it. We took care of it. We got rid of it. All the stupid stuff we've done in the past, we have corrected. And if we haven't corrected it yet, we're working towards a solution, working towards fixing it. So if we can raise the next generation to realize the awesomeness of this country and what the potential still is for this country, and to stand up for that and work for that and not back down, because life sucks. You're going to get hit. It's not about getting hit. It's about taking that punch and keep doing what you got to do. Like I tell my son, bravery isn't the absence of fear. Bravery is you have fear, but you keep moving forward. You do what you got to do. You go with fear. You work through it. You do what you have to do. We can get our kids to do that and have them carry that on to when they're our age. We're going to see 600-700 years without a question. We'll make 1,000 years, but we got to instill that in our children and our grandchildren. We have to put that in their minds, because schools tell them the complete opposite. We have to be that damn keeping back that flood and tell them, hey, look, you're going to hear lots of stuff, but at the end of the day, you're an American. That means something. It needs to mean something. And you need to defend that. You need to stand up for it. And you can't back down. You can't be afraid, because you're going to take heat for it. And the more flack you take, just means you're over the target. So the more crap you're catching means you're doing the right thing. So yes, if we can get our kids instilled and working towards that, I have no question about 300, 400, 500, 600 years.
All right. So Eleana, will go to you next. Even though I think Seth stole some of that monologue there from Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6. You know, saying how hard you hit, how hard you can get hit, and keep moving forward.
It's the truth.
I caught a little bit of that in there. But so your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if we keep seeing some of the trends that are small now, and we keep seeing them growing, like homeschooling, where that will save this country. If we keep seeing trends of people taking their children off the internet completely, no smartphones until you're 16 or 18, so they can have a full brain developed and actually absorb their family values and the values of their church. If we keep seeing people, speaking of church, going to church in increasing numbers as we're seeing now, if we see those things, we have a shot of upholding the Constitution, because I think regardless, in 50 years, we'll see, America will still be here. Will the Constitution still be here? That's going to depend on, how we raise our kids.
So I'm going to go to you, Frank. It's all on you. The burden is on your shoulders. I'm going to go to you next. Yeah. You're youngest, so you got to get out there and find the right woman, get married, have family values, have children, raise them right.
Many children.
It's all about parenting, because a lot of people have. You got to match the bad ones. You got to have the good ones too. So you got to at least equalize it out. So
be fruitful and multiply.
Amen.
So I'm not sure the topic we're discussing. The laptop restarted when a few minutes ago. So
we were talking about
it.
We're about to celebrate 250 years. Yeah, 250 year anniversary of the United States of America this July. And my question to everyone is: are we going to see 300? Do you think we'll see 300?
I think we're frozen again.
Yeah, well, if
you're freezing up.
Am I?
Oh, I want to hear what Frank
thought technology was.
Me too.
I can hear him.
All right, is this better?
We can hear you. You're just frozen. We can hear you. You're just frozen.
All right. Well, America has to be conservative here. We need to have conservative values. We have to. We talked about. I heard how there's more people homeschooling, which is great, indoctrinating the kids in the schools. More people are going to church. They're reading God's word, which is it's mostly it's all conservative. So I feel like if we can do that, we can last another 1,000 years, and that's if we elect the right people to office, which is why you should vote for Damon Galdo.
Oh, my man. Thank you. I didn't expect that. I appreciate it.
Nice. That was nice.
And also vote for Rob.
And Rob.
Rob, you're up next.
And Justin Murphy, if he.
And Murphy. I doubt he's watching. He'll probably catch it later. You know.
And Jason Cullen, too.
Jason Cullen as well. I'm pretty sure he's probably watching. Like I said him late, but he didn't comment, Jason. I didn't see any comments, dude. Come on, get on. Let's go. So
we're organizing his door knocking right now. I absolutely believe that the United States of America will not only be around in 50 years, we will be better than ever. I know we are the greatest country in the world, and that's because we serve the true and only living God in Jesus Christ. And that is the most important thing that each and every one of us will ever know. And it is imperative that you as a parent instill the words that Jesus spoke to your children. As far as, I have 5 children. Each and every one of them go to church. They love church. I have a great pastor, and Pastor Jeff Kluwer and Tim Robinson as the youth pastor. I go to church in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, at Cornerstone Church. I'd love to see anyone who wants to come. Please come on down. It's non-denominational. Doesn't really matter which denomination you are, but it's something that I try to talk about more. I don't talk about it enough, but I pray out loud with my family every single day. We pray before we eat dinner. We pray before school. We pray before bed. If you ask the Lord for the things that you need and you are sincerely believe in your heart and speak it with your mouth, the Lord will grant you those things. God's plan is divine, and it's ultimate, and it is the only thing that you can truly count on in this life. So if I could leave you guys with anything from this podcast today, it would be to please give God a chance, open the Bible, make sure you read the red words, and America will be here in the next 50 years.
Well, I certainly hope so. That's why I asked that question. I believe it will be, as long as we have people like us out here doing what we're doing, and we have young people like Frank coming up in the ranks, and Engels, his buddy too, is the same age. These guys are awesome, and as long as we have good parenting, like you just said, I mean, that is the most important thing is the parenting part. No, the government shouldn't raise your children. Parents should. I mean, to the best they can. There are things that happen, of course, that sad and tragic, but yeah, it's good parenting, and that's what makes society a better place. And going to church. I mean, even if you don't believe in God, that's fine. If you're an atheist, you don't believe in God, but if you live by those principles that are taught, then there you go. That's a stable society. And that's what this network is about. That's what my podcast is about. That's what the Pulse is about. I mean, it's just, and it doesn't matter if you're Jewish like Seth or Alexandra. I mean, listen, hey, I got the cross around my neck. Jesus was Jewish. I worship a Jew. So, but
Frank is staring at me again.
So I think he's frozen again. I
think he wants to fight.
Hello, Frank. You there?
I'm here.
So, yeah, he's just frozen. But guys, listen, thank you very much for coming out tonight. It was great. Oh, you got the sword. I got the hammer here. I got this one's real. This is blown up with full of air. But I gotta make you one. But no. So with that, we'll go into. I don't think we're gonna take another break. I just want to go to talk about. I want everyone first. Rob, I'll go with you first. You're running for mayor. Tell people where they can find you, your social media, your website if you have one, whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Damon, thank you for having me on the podcast tonight. I think, again, I said it last time, I think this network is super important for conservatives. It's, you take the time to do it. And I just want to say that there are many of us that appreciate it. As far as where you can find me, it's Rob Scholl 1776 on everything. So that's Substack, X, Facebook, Instagram. Working on getting my website up. Not running against anyone in the primary as a Republican in Burlington Township. Pretty unheard of, but I think we're going to get it done here in Burlington Township. I think it's super important to also go out and vote if you're in 1 or 3 for Jason Cullen in CD3. I'm running I'm the field director for his campaign. So if you're interested in door knocking, cullen4congress.com. And also, go and see Damon as Frank is doing for both of us. And extremely nice meeting everyone here tonight, and I appreciate your time. Vote Rob Shull for mayor, Burlington Township. Rob Shull, 1776 on social media.
All right, awesome. And Seth, everyone knows they're fine. New Conservative Corner, co-founder of the network. So anything you want to say to the end? I'm going to just go into the fundraiser we're going to have after this. So I'll just go around the room, whatever you guys want to say to finish up. So.
Yeah, but he said. I'm on X, the co-serve Seth. I didn't make the name. Don't give me grief about it. I'm on Facebook, the Conservative Corner. That's exactly how it sounds. And I'm here on Wednesdays. And just before I let the beautiful Eleana take over, remember, we're still in Iran. We're still over there. We got troops. We've got sailors. We've got airmen. We're not out of there yet. And I don't think this is even close to being over. All the news coming out now is they've closed the Hormuz Strait again, and they're giving us the finger. They're pushing buttons and trying to get things started. So keep everybody, all the military personnel, in your prayers, because this is going to get much, much worse before it gets any better. I can tell you that now.
All right, Eleana.
You can find me on all the usual places. My handle is @TheBasedMother. That's it. Come hang out.
She likes chocolate cake.
I love chocolate.
and Frank, I know you and Engels started something new. I know you're still frozen. Hopefully,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep. So Engels and we started a Turning Point chapter here in Gloucester County, and So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people registered to vote and get people and tell people go vote in the general election, go vote in the primary, so you can send candidates that you want to represent your party in November. So that's what him and I are working on. As of now, I'm working for Damon's campaign for Congress, and Justin Murphy for U.S. Senate. If you live in New Jersey, in the primary, vote Justin Murphy for U.S. Senate. And if you live in Burlington Township, vote for Rob, CD1, vote for Damon.
All right. Thank
Frank,
you, Frank.
where can we find you?
Oh, you can find me at Frank Civittoni on Facebook, and make sure it's me, and make sure it's me, because there's another one apparently out there.
Son of a bitch.
I would say he's probably older.
Yeah, he is.
So,
how do you pronounce your last name again?
Civittoni.
Civittoni. Oh, like it's spelled. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and everyone knows me, where to find me on social media and this podcast. But vote DamonGaldo.com. Very important. I need to raise a lot of money. I'm going up against Juggernaut in Norcross. Like I said before, he's got like $2.3 million in his coffers. I got like $2.3 in mine. So I'm going to have an online fundraiser, and for our great producer to bring it up this Monday coming, April 13th, right there. So basically, what this is going to be, it's going to be a virtual fundraiser on my podcast. Not at 8:00 as usual. I'm doing it at 7 because people might be going to bed, or later on, make it a little bit earlier. So at 7 p.m. on Monday, virtual fundraiser. So anybody out there, if you please share it to anybody, talk to your family, your friends, your coworkers, whoever it may be. Have them come on. I don't care if it's a $1 donation, a $5 donation, up to $100, whatever it may be, whatever you guys can afford. I know it's tight in New Jersey. I know everyone is struggling. It's a hard thing to do to raise money. I don't have the machine behind me like Donald Norcross does, but I'm just going to fight for everybody. And unfortunately, it takes money to win campaigns. It really, and it's going to take money. And he's got a lot. He already tried to throw me off the ballot. He challenged me. I had to go to court over it and spend 3 hours in court, go through everything, every single signature and everything else. So that tells me he's afraid. but he has the money to not be as afraid as I think he might be. So, but Monday, April 13th, you guys come on. Basically, what we're going to do, you can go in the chat box like everybody else did, and you can ask a question like people did tonight. Or my producer is going to put the Restream link out there as well, just like everyone here that came on Restream will be audio only. So I think we have up to 10 people on at once. So if you want to come on and actually talk, it'll be audio. We'll get you on. You can ask me questions, and then and you can decide whether to donate to my campaign or not. But whatever it is, I'm open. So, but if it's full, they should wait for someone to come off of there, and then the next one can come in. So that's the plan for Monday. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. Everyone for coming on tonight. Seth, you're the man as always. I can't wait to see you again. Lena, can't wait to see you again either. Rob, hopefully, the Golden Goose gets me 2.1 million viewers. If we get 2.1 million on this one, just donate 50 cents to my campaign, everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That'll work.
And Frank, thank you for coming on. Frank, man, he's the future of this party, this state, and this country. So
yeah, thank you for having me on, and appreciate it.
So,
Frank is still giving me the stink eye.
He's still looking at you.
He is.
He's frozen right towards you.
Okay, I see how this is.
So, all right, guys, signing off. Thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And all listeners out there, thank you very much.
God bless you guys.
Yep.
America's Pulse Network thanks you for watching tonight's episode of the Pulse Podcast. See you at the next packed episode that will take you from breaking news to informative topics. So please click on the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you liked what the Pulse covered, then share the Pulse Podcast with others. APN's The Pulse hosts look forward to seeing you